You're listening to Edge Radio TV. The views and opinions expressed in this program are that of the host or guests, and not the Edge Radio Network or its advertisers or affiliates.
E.R.A.S.E is an organization. It's a movement. We're talking about unity. We're talking about unity. So we're aimed to taking down the system of race by educating, enlightening, informing, and positively debating with those who have counterviews.
Welcome to Edge Radio's Talk About Unity, and today's episode is what we call Remember and Honor as we commemorate Memorial Day 2021. Well, we've got a great show on the lineup today, and we're going to get right into it. I'm Richard Jennings, your co-host, and we're just going to go right into and talk about Memorial Day.
You're supposed to tell us how you spent Memorial Day.
Brother, let me tell you how Memorial Day went. First, it started off on Sunday morning at church, and we just really got in this moment of prayer and just honoring and recognizing those that paid the ultimate price for our country. And I just really had an opportunity to just recognize the sons and daughters, brothers, sisters, moms and dads that did that, and just really pray for those that they left behind, and just had an opportunity to bless them and thank them. And personally, I spend the day in my garage polishing my old dad's pickup truck, just thinking about him and others that have gone. And just a beautiful day. How was your day?
Oh, it's cool, and so that's what I think a good show like Remember and Honor is good for on Memorial Day, because it has everybody reflecting back on things that have happened and great things that people before them have done, sacrifices they've made. And so I sacrificed and spent the day in the yard, cutting grass and doing all that kind of thing. And so also I spent some time, because yesterday happened to be the anniversary of the Tulsa massacre they talked about from 1921, so the 100-year mark. And so I spent some time looking at one of those documentaries, and so there are 3 of them out there, and I want to forward everybody to those 3 just in case you get some extra time. They're all either an hour and a half or 2 hours long. One of them is called Dreamland. If you can put that up, Vince, there's a graphic that I've got so that everybody can see, and they can go look at this one called Dreamland, The Burning of Black Wall Street. That one's available on CNN. Then there's one on CBS called Tulsa, 1921, An American Tragedy. And then the third one is called Tulsa, The Fire and the Forgotten, and that one's on PBS. And so your local PBS station or your public broadcasting. So you can find that. So pretty interesting stuff as you watch that and analyze our history. It's much like today, amazingly. So it was pretty interesting stuff. So.
That's good. Well, man, Carlin, this day is just going to be amazing. Vince has this graphic. Did you show that graphic yet? Yeah, put that graphic
he
up
showed
there.
the Tulsa thing. I'm trying to see why I've got technical difficulties, and so I'm gonna need a slide forwarder. So I'm gonna have to go off the screen and say, boom, press forward, because I think my battery's died. Hey, but before we do that, I want to tell you about our guest we got today. All right, so I'm gonna bring him in. We're gonna take a commercial break in a few minutes here, but before they do that, I'm gonna go off screen so I can forward my slide. All right.
Yeah. Well, as he's doing that, I just wanted to talk to you guys just for a second about how amazing it is to be a co-host to Carlin. Serves in our military, and it poured into our next generation of those that are going to be in the military. And and what an impact he's making on all these young people across cultural lines, economic barrier lines in schools. And everybody I talked to in our community that's had a connection with Carlin, he didn't want me to say this, I'm going to say it anyway, that they have such a good opinion and an appreciation for what he does. So I wanted to tell you in front of all these people that are listening, thank you, sir, for what you do and what you've done and what you're going to continue to do.
Hopefully there's nobody else listening because we're having technical difficulties this morning. So
right.
Then we'll get that fixed. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an early commercial break. As soon as I come back, I'm going to introduce our guests and we're going to go forward. So stand by, World's World. We'll be right back in a second after this. Hello, I'm Carlin Charleston, Executive Director of E.R.A.S.E, and I want to take this time to invite you to an opportunity to change the world. Perhaps you're too busy and too preoccupied to help change the world, but please take the next 2 minutes to listen to how we plan to do it. The divisiveness and bitterness observed in our country today is not a coincidence of the current administration or any administration before. It is also not a product of a singular or multiple infractions by a zealous or racist police force. No, the race problem precedes the founding of our country. Our very history speaks in racial language, and most everything that happens in our society now carries with it racial baggage. It simply does not have to stay that way. The Erase Race campaign has only one objective: the unifying of all Americans, and that without regard to the color of their skin. This is a difficult challenge because of our history, but we can do it if we believe. If we believe that Martin Luther King Jr. was right when he said, "We are tied together in a single garment of destiny," we can do it. We can do it if we believe the founding principles upon which our country was built, that all men are created equal, we can do it. And if we believe that God did in fact make all nations of men from one man, and that we are all therefore part of one family, one race, then we can do it. Yes, the task is monumental, but the reward is worth the challenge. If you would like to join us as we change America and inevitably change the world, go to eraseraces.com, sign up today, and welcome to Erase Races, because there is only one race and you're in it. And we're back here on this Memorial Day special of Talk About Unity, sponsored by Erase Races on the Edge Radio Network. And I'm really excited to have an outstanding guest today. And as you see, we've got the cemetery graphic going because it's Memorial Day, and we want to really commemorate that time. And so without any further ado, I want to welcome you to Talk About Unity and our special guest, who will always be special to me because he's one of my own. You know, I'm making those mini me's. And so he used to be a mini me. Now he's a bigger me. So it's the growth that happens with everybody that I touch. I go for growth. All right. But he's entering in his junior year at Texas A&M University. He's a member of the famous Corps of Cadets there at Texas A&M. He's a communications major. He'll be a junior this year. And I had the privilege of being his high school teacher, his JROTC instructor. And so any problems that he has in life, it's my fault. You know, I'm responsible for my own actions. It's my fault if he succeeds or fails. That's one of our quotes from, and he remembers that. But I want to welcome the World's World. Welcome to World's World. You got Jake World in the house. Glad to have you here, Jake.
Yes.
All right.
Howdy, sir.
All right. Hey, we're ready to get started here. And I got a couple of things. We got a graphic that we're going to put up about later on about Gold Star, but I want you to do two things primarily here first. I want you to just give people a general background why Memorial Day is special to you. This is our Memorial Day special. You've got that military connection. You've had it all your life. And so I want to know from your heart, just tell us, there's no right or wrong answer here. I'm not your teacher right now. You can't pass or fail this, all right? So just why is Memorial Day such a special day for you?
I'm having trouble hearing you, sir. You guys kind of cut out for a second.
Oh, okay. Hey, put that delay back on us so he can make sure he can hear me because it sounds great on my end.
You guys are real low. I'm sorry.
Okay. So go ahead. I'm going to repeat my question and he'll get it fixed. Okay. So you probably got it in clear now. Yeah. So it's either good for you and bad for us, or bad for us and good for you. So we're having to sacrifice so that you can get it good. All right. So this is kind of our Memorial Day responsibility here. All right. So, but once again, I'm going to tell you that Memorial Day has a special meaning for all Americans, but it has a special meaning for you. So I want you to just give the listeners a background to what Memorial Day really means to you.
Yeah. To me, I mean, there's not a day that isn't Memorial Day for me. Every day is really Memorial Day for my family. And so on the weekends, or not the weekends, but on Memorial Day, it's a lot more people kind of reach out and they share their gratitude and how they remember. I got a bunch of buddies that every year ask for a remembrance bracelet or express their feelings of thankfulness, which is really cool to hear from kids my age for what my dad did and everything. So for me, it's another day. Every day is Memorial Day.
Because I don't think there are a lot of people out there that know about that, but there are people who have lived in your world's world, and they know that. So enlighten our listeners.
Yes, sir. A Gold Star family is a family who's normally a father, but could also be a mother who was killed in war. So the Gold Star family is the family that was left behind from the sacrifice that the service member made.
Outstanding. And so being a Gold Star family, what has that meant for you and your siblings? How does that change your life? Yeah.
The military is, especially after 9/11, has been really good about taking care of Gold Star families. So after 2006, there was an organization that reached out and their whole organization is built on college prep, preparing for college, and then help during college. So ever since I was 5, there's organizations reaching out, watching me grow up, and they're getting me ready for college, especially in high school, helping me with SAT prep, paying the small college admission fees. I get scholarships, so I don't have to pay as much for school, which is super beneficial. And then in the summer, I have the opportunity to go out and meet other Gold Star families and kind of be able to share and bond that experience that we've gone through with them. Because at school, you don't meet a lot of kids, so you feel kind of alone sometimes. So being able to go out in the summers and meet other kids and meet other families and kind of share experiences and be able to lean on each other when you're having a bad day or whatnot. But the military's been really good about helping their Gold Star kids and the Gold Star families and keeping them a part of the community. So I've got a lot of my mentors have come from prior service members who served with my dad and stuff. So having that growing up was super, super helpful.
Oh, that's really cool. And how, I remember when I met you, and as I was thinking about it, all the cadets I've had in the 12 years that I was teaching, I only remember you as being the only Gold Star cadet that I've ever had. Do you run into many of them? Like, or is there anybody else in our program that maybe that I wasn't aware of? Have you met any during high school?
No, obviously my little brother, but
Right.
I don't remember meeting anyone in the program. And then also, even at school, I mean, the Corps of Cadets, there's
Mm-hmm.
2,500 kids. There's no one there.
Wow.
There's a freshman coming in next year. So I got a special relationship with one of the advisors, and he reached out and said, "Hey, there's another Gold Star kid coming in. Would love for you to meet him and everything." But I mean, the programs I've been a part of,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kids come from all over the country. E.R.A.S.E Foundation is a huge
Mm-hmm.
supporter, and I'm able to meet kids through that. But I mean, back home, I know kids with parents in the military, but I can't think of anyone offhand that's a Gold Star family.
Have you ever met Gary Sinise?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Oh,
E.R.A.S.E.
that's cool.
Yeah, he's been huge. There's a foundation called Snowball Express that he helps funds and supports that I've been a part of, or I was a part of from 2006 to when I graduated 2019. So he took us out. He takes about 1,000 families out to Disney World, to Dallas. We've been to California, and he told me happy birthday every year. And his band plays, and I get to go meet his band. So Gary Sinise he's real quiet about it, but he's out there. He's doing good stuff.
That's really cool. And so as we remember and honor, what is the thing that you would most like people to remember or want people to know about your dad? What would be that thing, or maybe the thing that has had the most impact on you about your dad?
Yeah. So I didn't get to know my dad, but I got to hear a lot about how similar our personalities
Mm.
are. So
Mm-hmm.
he's very outgoing, really lit up a room when he walked in, and really made an impact on everyone everyone he met. So every year on May 14th or on Memorial Day, I'll get a message from someone I've never met or never heard of, and just telling me how special he was and how much of an impact they made on his life or her life. Whether it was him being on the high school cheerleader and it's some cheerleader from high school
Mm-hmm.
from back in the day that reaches out, or it's some guy he met for 10 minutes while flying him to the FOB. So just the impact he had on people.
And you give us a little bit on his military background. He was in what element of the Army was he in?
Yeah, so he did aviation after he graduated A&M, started flying helicopters, and then he did the cab for a little bit, and then he ended up assessing for the 160th Night Stalkers. So it's the special operations unit for the aviation branch. So he got to fly the special helicopters.
Oh man! Oh, that's really
Yeah.
cool. Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna take a break here, a normal commercial break. We're not having difficulties anymore. We got the bad sound, so that means Jake's got the good sound. And we're gonna come back, and when we come back, we're gonna ask some more questions. And we've got a Memorial Day tribute video, so we're gonna play that as soon as we come back from this break. Here on Talk About Unity.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
Hey, this is the Talk About Unity show where I bring the talk,
And I bring the unity,
and together we talk about unity.
unity.
Unity is what matters.
Come on.
And right now in our country, that's what we've got to do. So we do that here at Talk About Unity on the Edge Radio Network. Be with us every week.
It's going to be awesome. It always is. And I tell you what, the more we seek first to understand, then be understood, we make progress.
And we like to do that. And that's why everybody's on the brink. We love what we do at Edge Radio because everybody's on the edge. We bring them back from the edge and we bring the unity. So we're just glad to Edge Radio Network every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Talk About Unity because here at Edge Radio Network, truth still matters.
Edge Radio TV is holding auditions for new show hosts. Are you a subject matter expert, professional, influencer, book author, thought leader, or business owner with an educational or motivational platform? Then we want to meet you. Send a link of some of your work to edgeradio20@gmail.com and be sure to put audition in the subject line. Join the Edge Radio TV family. Edge TV, because truth still matters.
Sometime back, I received in the name of our country the bodies of 4 Marines who had died while on active duty. I said then that there is a special sadness that accompanies the death of a serviceman, for we're never quite good enough to them. Not really, we can't be, because what they gave us is beyond our powers to repay. And so when a serviceman dies, it's a tear in the fabric, a break in the whole, and all we can do is remember. It is, in a way, an odd thing to honor those who died in defense of our country, in defense of us, in wars far away. The imagination plays a trick. We see these soldiers in our mind as old and wise. We see them as something like the founding fathers, grave and gray-haired. But most of them were boys when they died, and they gave up 2 lives, the one they were living and the one they would have lived. When they died, they gave up their chance to be husbands and fathers and grandfathers. They gave up their chance to be revered old men. They gave up everything for our country, for us. We owe them a debt we can never repay. All we can do is remember them and what they did and why they had to be brave for us.
Jake, I'm so glad you're on the program today. So good to hear from you, and glad
World's
to hear
world. Oh, sorry to interrupt.
That's
I just
all
had to
right.
say that. I'll probably say that about 3 more times before the show's over.
Keep it going, Jake. It's good to hear that people are honoring your dad and showing you some love and kindness as being a Gold Star family member. I just had a question. These significant events and the loss of your dad at an early age, how has that affected you? And I guess just as important, how is that shaping you towards some of the decisions you're making and how your life is going to turn out?
Yeah. Wow. Big question.
A lot of questions. Sorry.
I think the biggest thing for me is my outlook on life is a little bit different than your average 20-year-old, and everything I do. Well, I think because of what happened, I've been given a certain community most kids my age don't have. So I've been lucky enough to have mentors throughout my life that I can lean on and depend on for whatever aspect of life I need. So I want to get a credit card soon. So I've got someone I can reach out who knows someone. So it's really created an extensive network for me. And then a lot of things for school I don't have to worry about paying for, which is a huge blessing. And then for me, one of the things I struggled with was identity. And I used to think I had to do what everyone expected me to do because I was my dad's firstborn son. And so that was something I struggled with up until about freshman year of college. And then I realized I can do what makes me happy and what I want to do with my life as opposed to what everyone expects me to do because of what happened, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Go Big Jake. I like that.
Go Big Jake.
Yeah, I like that. Sounds like you had a great teacher along the way. Who could that have been? No. But that's
right.
really good stuff.
One
That
more
really
question,
is.
Jake. You have such a fond memory of your dad. What is something that he said or did that's not only had a profound effect on your life, but how just one of those things that you're always going to remember about your dad?
Yeah. So I didn't get a whole lot of time with my dad. I mean, he died when I was 5, so I don't have a
5. You didn't have a
crazy
job
amount
by
of memories.
then? You should have been working and
No.
everything. You should have seen when you came home from that job.
The number one thing though for sure is the 7 P's. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. So that's something that's really, really stuck with me. That I got to hear him say. Everything else has kind of been like a story or, oh, your dad used to say this, blah, blah, blah. But that's something that's really, really stuck with me, the 7 P's. So anytime I go anywhere, I always think of the 7 P's.
Yeah. Good stuff. So, and talking about, I want to go back to kind of my era and high school, because give us some background, because I don't know all the details, although I should remember all the things that you did in the JROTC program. But tell them, what you did in our program and some of those things. Give them background from our interaction, because I'll tell them how great you are, really. And I'm going to say this, and he knows that I've been saying this for a long time about. He came in our program and he did some things, and I'm not even going to go into details, but he became the epitome of what I call character for some of the things he did in our program. And I told him that your life is set for success based on just some good decisions that he made. So go ahead and give background about your high school and what led you to get into the Corps Cadets and do all that stuff.
Yeah, so growing up, I grew up in the military kind of environment. So that's kind of something I wanted to still be a part of in high school and in school. So I came in, you were my teacher freshman and sophomore, and maybe even a little bit of junior year. So for that point, I kind of rose up kind of quick, which was nice, kind of filling some holes, and I ended up being the executive officer at one point. Wow. And I ended up making some poor decisions one weekend. And so I came out and told the kid above me and Colonel Charleston. And so that kind of set me back in JROTC land. But I think at life, it ended up being a step forward more than anything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. And in high school, I don't think he saw it that way at the time, but he doesn't realize, and he knows it now because I've said it so many times about how, man, he just launched himself into life when you did that. And I think people need to understand that. And I want to ask you this other question that's kind of related to that about all these character building circumstances you've had in your life. Because of what happened with your dad, most people look at your life and they would actually use that word that I hate using because I'm the race guy, but they would say white privilege. He's got privilege. He's got those things. They don't understand that this, what they would call privilege, came at the expense or the disadvantage that you had in life. Did you think about that as you were growing up, about that this thing was disadvantageous, or did you see it as an opportunity? And how do you view that now?
Yeah. Growing up, I thought it was I was at a disadvantage. I mean, I didn't get to go out and play catch. I didn't get to learn how to work on cars, or I didn't get to ask the hard questions to a dad. I only had my mom. So that was really kind of a disadvantage growing up. But I think looking back, huge opportunity. Like I said, I don't have to really worry about financials for school. I've got a very extensive community of people I can reach out to within the military world. So just guys I could reach out that acted as a father figure for me growing up. So I didn't have to give my mom all the hard questions I don't think she wanted to hear. So just the network it created and the opportunities. I get to mentor other kids in the summer in Montana. I'll be mentoring kids next week, actually, down in Texas. And I think just growing up, it made me a little bit more of a tougher nut to crack than your average kid. So,
Cool.
Yeah, I think that'll answer it.
And what is the message when you're mentoring from the things you've learned? What is your most significant message that you pass on to those you mentor?
Yeah, it's very contextual because I'll talk to kids anywhere from age 6 to age 17. So the message is a little different depending on how long it's been, or what happened, or their level of maturity. But I think the biggest message is you're not alone, because at home and at school, you don't really, it's very rare you find another kid who's in the same circumstances you are. So being out there in the summer and then being able to interact with them and keep up all year is huge for them to realize that they're not alone and they have other people they can lean on.
Really good stuff. All right. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back after this, and we're going to ask you some things about your future and see where you're headed. And so we'll talk about that when we come back after the break here on Talk About Uni.
Hey y'all, I'm Robin B.
And I'm Dr. Kiva.
And we just want to know
how you living?
Join us every Monday
At noon Central Standard Time.
here on Edge Radio TV. Take care.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Oh yeah. Now we have to have on the headphones today, but it's really cool because we get to hear our musical vibe happening. You hear that music happening? It gets us in the mood to ask some really tough questions and get vibing here on Talk About Unity. But we're back here on Edge Radio on this Memorial Day special. We've got our Gold Star family member here, Jake World, better known as World's World, is in the house today. And so we've been talking to him about what Memorial Day means. And so we've covered a lot of territory so far. And so I want to ask some questions about what's happening at Texas A&M Corps of Cadets. Hey, so you've been in the program. Tell us a little bit about what's happened there, what you're learning there, what you're doing there.
Yeah. They've got a little bit different leadership philosophy than you, sir.
That means theirs is all screwed up then. It's different than mine. Oh, it's got to be a problem. All right.
Yeah. It's cool. I'm learning a lot. It's very different, but I'm very happy to be a part of it. I'm making sure I'm going to class, making sure I'm staying in shape. So that's super helpful. I'm not gonna sit here and pinpoint everything I don't like about it, but that's an off radio conversation. But it's different. It's super cool, and it's really cool to be a part of something with such rich history and tradition at the school. So being a part of something really bigger than myself is kind of special to me.
And so what is that going to lead you to? What is your future beyond the Corps of Cadets? And also, I'm going to go back to that leadership thing. I want to find out some stuff about their leadership thing. I'm going to turn this into Talk About Leadership program today because I want to hear what they're doing in leadership. But tell me, where is this going to lead you? And we'll talk about that leadership stuff later. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna, you don't have to commission after your time in the Corps of Cadets. Actually, like only 40% do. So for me, it's kind of keeping me in check. Like I said, making sure I go to class, making sure I stay in shape. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I'm kind of going blank here. I'm sorry.
Well, you're telling me about what you're going to do. What's your life right now going to be like going down the road? Yeah.
Yes, sir. My bad. I'm really using it as like it's a big networking opportunity for me. It's a good way to get some leadership skills and some leadership experience to throw on the resume. Like I said, I've met a lot of good people through it. That's actually one of the ways I got my job at school was through some people in the Corps of Cadets. So I work at 12th Man Productions for the athletic department. And afterwards, I hope to kind of work for a sports team, doing event management, public relations, whatever I can do, just to work for a sports team and be in the sports world. And then hopefully one day we can start a nonprofit, but that's kind of the life plan.
Hey, you used to talk about that management, that sports team management stuff for a long time. Has that always been something that was always deep in your heart?
Yeah, I think growing up, I was a big sports guru, sports kid.
Growing up, you still are, man. You got statistics on everybody. I told the guy playing college football, he went online and looked up my stats, said, "Sir, your stats are okay." I was like, this guy's really into it. So yeah. Good.
It's something I love being a part of and something I can hopefully do. So I don't want to work a day in my life. So if I could do that, that'd be huge.
Okay. Now let's talk about that leadership thing you were talking about. I don't want to make this talk about leadership, but because, my forte is leadership. Everything I do, I talk leadership a lot. You know that. So what is different about the leadership in the Corps of Cadets than the leadership that you've experienced? And specifically, the leadership you experienced at TMHS, where you had the best leadership in the world.
Yes, sir.
Of course, that's my opinion.
Definitely the biggest difference is it's all based of what grade you're in. And it's not really based on your skill set. So
that's the problem.
You're a freshman. Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I knew you were about to go off about it.
Yeah. Age has nothing to do with your leadership ability. There are people, and in my program, there were people who were just young and had the gift. But that's our education system. And now let's talk about education. that, think about it. For the last 100 years, we've been doing education the same way. If you're this age, you're in this grade. What about that kid that's this age in this grade who is smarter than the kids 4 grades above him and 4 years older? What about that kid?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you have to stay back here and come along until you. That's crazy. Of course, one of my master's degrees is in innovative leadership, so I say I like changing things, and so trying to make them better. And so, all right. But did you fix that at the Corps of Cadets? I mean, what are you doing? He's like, it's not my topic.
It's a little bit above my pay grade, sir. I might get in trouble if I go talk to General Ramirez.
Your
about
world's
his
world.
leadership
Nothing's
philosophy.
above your pay grade. Okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, it's very evident what guy should be where he is and what guy shouldn't be where he is. So when you're a freshman, you're a freshman, and when you're a sophomore, you're in charge of the freshmen. And I remember as a freshman, there's some of my sophomores that say, "Why? I don't really want to listen or follow you, and you're a bad leader. I mean, you're not doing what you're preaching." So that's the biggest thing. I think one of the best things I took away from my time at TMHS with you as my teacher was learning how to fail. And that's
very good.
Yeah, that's something that's not super big at A&M. Very traditional, very old school style. So that they're not like super big on it. It's like, all right, fix it next time kind of thing. But we didn't get the in-depth what happened, here's how you do it better, blah, 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 that you would give us when we were in high school. So that's something I think it really needs to put into the program. Cool.
Really, really good stuff as we talk about and explore the stuff this is Jake World on World's World today. We're going to call this the World's World edition. All right. And so talk about, now we're going to talk a little bit about family stuff. I want to talk about what, the dynamic that has happened as a result of, I remember my dad lost his dad when he was 6 years old. And so he wasn't in this era where we talk about these things and we analyze and we find out how that would affect. He didn't come from that era. So it was as a grown man that I understood that dad had some issues because of that, and I think that your life has probably been impacted more positively because there were people around you who understood that dynamic and were able to help you. And that's why you have so many mentors, I think, in your life. But how have you impacted the life of your siblings and your mom, being the number one child and having this thing that happened as we remember this on Memorial Day?
Yeah, I think especially at a young age, I was 5'6", so I wasn't sitting here saying, "Oh, it's my turn," kind of thing. So I really, really looked up to my mom. She raised 2 young boys by herself. I think we turned out all right, but I had a really good model to look at. And so now when I have the opportunity to go share what I've experienced with other kids or stuff like this, my mom is the person that I think emulates that the best.
But when did you realize I've got to be the man? Because you didn't realize that when you're 5 and your dad passed, you didn't realize, I got to step up and do this. Was there a point in life when you said, I've got the feeling I've got to be dad and big brother for my brother and my sister. I got to be dad. When did that thing happen?
I don't think I could sit here and really put an exact age on it. I had my current stepdad came into my life about 15, 16. And so that was really huge for me because I was still developing and figuring out stuff. But I think when I really started to understand kind of that role, past couple of years, making sure my brother Luke is taken care of, even though we've got a father figure now. But just doing behind the scenes little stuff, just for my brother, making sure he was taken care of whenever I can. And I think the biggest thing now is just giving advice. from what I've experienced. I mean, I've already graduated high school. I've done a couple of years through college. So it's hard for my old man, stepdad, to kind of give advice on what college and high school is like. Because, I mean, it's very different from the 90s and 80s than it is now, especially technology has really changed. So forms of communication and how to use that to your advantage, or how it can be a disadvantage for him throughout high school, or even when he's taking that next step in the fall. So very recent. I would say very recent. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so there's a lot that we still have to glean out of this conversation, because there's a lot we could talk about. But I want you to talk a little bit more about the relationships that you had with some of the other cadets in the program. As you were going through some of the things that happened in our program, how did your leadership or your experiences from previous have an impact there?
Yeah. So I've met some of my best friends through high school ROTC. And one of them's going to airborne school today. So super happy for him. But yes, sir. He I think because we were in that kind of military environment at school a little bit with ROTC, they got to understand kind of my perspective or what I was battling with back home. And then they were interested and wanted to I'm gonna say be a part or help in any way they can. So like I said, that they'd ask for remembrance bracelets, or they'd ask to come with me to memorial events, or check on me if I'm doing okay. So very thankful for those guys that I've met through the program.
And so normally when we have one of these our guests on, we try to get 3 things that you want us to remember, or 3 things that you think are most significant. So I'm gonna give you a chance. Think of 3 things that you think are most significant for us to remember, because this is our show today. It's called Remember and Honor. And we have you on because you're one of the few people that I know of who actually has a family member, and in your case, a parent who passed in combat. And so what would you be the 3 things that you would want us to remember?
I think never forget is a really big for me and my family. So when people reach out and say they're thinking and remembering, and that's huge for us. I'm going to say proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
I ask him for 3 things and he gives me 7 P's.
That little saying is huge for me and really helps me just in everyday life. I'm out here in Missouri right now, so before I packed, I'm remembering the 7 P's. And the third one, I think it's you can never really know what someone's really going through back home. So don't be quick to kind of judge everyone's battles, or kind of how they're acting one day and a different day, because you can never know really what someone's thinking back home or what's going on in their home life. Because I remember having good days at school, and I remember bawling my eyes out at school, and not a lot of people knew what I had going on back home. So I think those are my 3 things: the 7 P's, never forget, and don't judge a book by its cover.
Hey, that's really
kind of cliche, but
I like that, because the things you brought up lead us to this thing that the reason we titled the show Talk About Unity, because you don't really know what people are going through until you have this dialogue, until you actually talk to them. You got to find that out. And so that's why we say, let's not only just talk about these things, that's what enables us to walk about these things. And so we only connect with people as we dialogue with them. So that's very good. I like your 3 things, and let's continue to do that on Talk About Unity. So I'm going to let Richard go ahead and close us out on the show. We're going to thank World's World for bringing World's World to our E.R.A.S.E Edge Radio studio today. But we'll let Richard go ahead and give us some closing comments.
Well, Jake, it was so nice to meet you today. And I know your dad is proud. And one of the philosophies that I preach and teach, and we talked about on Sunday, is Galatians 6:7. It says, don't be deceived. God's not mocked. Whatever a man sows, he will reap. And I believe part of the harvest that's being reaped by your dad is the way you've turned out and the way that people love and honor you and your family because of his sacrifice. And so be a recipient of that. I know you say thank you and you appreciate that, but there's a lot of people on your side, a lot of people pulling for you, especially this guy sitting right next to me. He's proud to see how you've turned out. So there I go.
Outstanding. Hey, we want to thank you. Just outstanding to have you in World's World. I called him at last minute notice. I said, hey, it's Memorial Day. We got to do this show. I need you. And he's there like he always would be. I expected him to say, got you, sir. I said, I'll just take up 50 minutes of your day. And so I want to thank you and appreciate you, Jake. And keep doing what you do, man. And, you know, you got the Colonel as a mentor for life. And so, and eventually once you get that sports thing going, I'm going to get a job, so I'm going to be working for you. So remember, you'll be hiring me. So I'm looking forward to that. Awesome. All right? So any comments before we say bye to you?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for having me. An honor. And I remember back in sophomore year, junior year of high school, you talking about E.R.A.S.E. So really, really cool to see what it's grown into and to be a part of that. So thank you. And we love what you're doing.
All right. Thanks, World's World. It's been a great day. Thanks for remembering and honoring with us. We honor your dad. We honor your family. We honor World's World here on Edge Radio Network, where the truth still matters. We're out.